All checked in to our B&Bs in Dumfries. Off out this evening to have a check around, see what the town's got to give us. There was a few other mates joining us on this trip, and here's Gary Payton setting off from our Drossen.
We circumnavigated Glasgow via the Kessock Bridge and made good time to meet the others at the Starbucks in Bowling.
Andrew Owen managed to make it to the rendezvous, and what the hell is he riding? It looks like an ET2 with a problem already, and Martin's trying to fix it with a hammer.
The next stage of the journey was passing the beautiful Loch Lomond. Here you can see it in all its glory from the drone. And here's a nice shot of the girls, Sharon, Dawn and Sarah, with Loch Lomond in the background. We've made it into the Highlands. Time for a late lunch stop at Tindrum, the Green Welly. There's the gang there taking a break, and Sarah's off to get herself a sandwich.
Fantastic place this. Get yourself a bit of food, pies, whatever you want, and any souvenirs.
This is a renowned place for bikers to stop off at on their way up through Glencoe or on their way up to the NC500. And as we go up on the drone, you can see a bit of the landscape there. This is the Scottish Highlands, absolutely beautiful. Just to give you a little bit of an idea of the sights and the views that we're going to be looking at for the rest of the week. Spectacular.
Leg of the day, and Martin's got us on the drone coming over the Bealach Bridge on the way up to Fort William. And that was Gary Linning and Steve Green going through. Here's Gary Payton, Sarah on her Lambretta and Jim Law, followed by Dunk Lindsay, Steve and Lee, the Atkinson brothers. And as the drone pans round, what a fantastic view of the mountains we've just come through. I'm sure now everybody's looking forward to getting to the digs for the night, which is just another 10 miles up the A82 on the banks of Loch Lomond by Fort William. Here we are for the night, the Caledonian Hotel, cheap and cheerful with a restaurant on site, so it means that we don't have to go anywhere except to retire to the bar and cross the road to admire the views. And of course we needed to make sure we found time to get the obligatory photo of Gary and Jim in the kilts. Good night, God bless, see you in the morning.
And what a beautiful morning we woke up to. The sun's out, there's just a little bit of mist on Loch Lomond, but that'll soon clear. Here's Babs' Vespa GS 150, 60 years old. And we've been joined by Colin from Edinburgh on his Lambretta LI Series 2. Nice relaxing day ahead of us, just 92 miles to do today, with a nice lunch stop planned at Fort Augustus. But as soon as we're all ready, we're off. First stop for us is the old Inverloch Castle, which is just the other side of Fort William.
Martin's got a drone up again, just in time to capture the Jacobite steam train coming out of Fort William. Here we can see it just coming through the Banavy station where we're all parked up.
Next stop was at the Commando Memorial near Speen Bridge. Lovely little setting with the bronze statue and an area of remembrance where we could pay our respects.
I had a lovely ride up to the old war memorial, and then as you can see, absolutely stunning. Got the old Ben Nevis behind me. First time we've actually seen it because it's blue skies, sun, absolutely cracking. Time for one of these bad boys.
Great trip up to the Commando. Ben Nevis behind us. Step aside, Stella Steve, I've got the Red Bull.
So our next stop off is the second castle ruins of the day. Invergary Castle dates back to the 1600s. It was the seat of the chief of the MacDonald clan of Glengarry. So we soon got to Fort Augustus for an early lunch. We found some handy parking right next to the canal side.
Martin! Just seen in here, homemade soup and a roll, £3 odd.
We've pulled off the A87, one of General Wade's old military roads, to call in at the Eileen Donnan Castle. Just a mile down the road in the tiny little hamlet of Ardelve, we call in to see our old friend Thomas at the Fairy Tale Gin Distillery. Thomas shows us around the copper distilling vats and gives us a sample taster of his award-winning gins. So we're all safely over the Skye Bridge, and we've just arrived and are about to check in to our accommodation, the cheap and cheerful Saucy Mary's Bunkhouse. It's going to be 2 nights here for us, as tomorrow we're doing a loop round the Isle of Skye to end up back here tomorrow evening. After a visit from the Stig, it's time for a good evening meal, some more laughs and a few drinks over the road in the Harcon Bar, before admiring the spectacular 10 PM sunset. So we're absolutely loving this weather, and we're loving the roads around the Isle of Skye. We're on our way to call in at Sligachen Junction. There's several things to see there. There's the old bridge of Sligachen, a 3D model of the mountain range, and a beautiful bronze sculpture of Professor Norman Colley and John Mackenzie, who were two renowned pioneers that were accredited with creating and mapping out many of the hiking tracks and mountaineering routes across the Coolin Mountains on Skye. Next up is Loch Lomond and its hydro dam, with Babs and Blainfield Gary here in the photo, before we head off past the Old Man of Store and on to the Lilt Falls. Then it's the Melt Falls and Kilt Rock.
Can't believe how lucky we've been with the weather, and after a loop of the island in sunshine and deep blue skies, it was back to the beautiful little harbour town of Portree for fish and chips. Glorious weather continues to hold out, and we're still travelling north, and on day 4 of our tour we finally make it onto the official route of the NC500. We've refuelled and are just having a leg stretcher in the village of Loch Carron before we head off into the foothills of Arda Rock. And then it's the one everyone's been looking forward to, the big one, the Bealach na Bar.
Bealach na Bar, which is also known as the Applecross Pass, dates back to the early 1800s, when it was historically used as a drover's road to get sheep and cattle across the 11 miles from Applecross to Tornapress. It is renowned as one of the best road climbs in Britain, and with 1 in 5 gradients, it is the steepest ascent of any road in the UK from sea level. The Bealach na Bar rises up to 2,053 feet. So we've all made it with no dramas. Time for some photos. And a spot more posing. But that's only half the ride done. It's time now to negotiate the descent on the other side of the pass, down into Applecross.
After coffees and an ice cream at Applecross, we headed along the single track road around the peninsula.
The West to Ross Coastal Trail offers great views across the inner sound, and you can spot some Highland coos along the way.
We stopped for a light lunch, sandwiches and cakes from the Torridon stores, and had a lazy afternoon's ride, leaving the Torridon area behind us before heading alongside Loch Murray, calling in to take a look at the Victoria Falls along the way.
Final part of the day now. We've made it to Gerlock. It looks like it's been a strenuous day for these pair. I think you need a Red Bull, Steve.
Day 5, and we're making good progress now on the A834 around the North Coast official route. For those who left Northampton on Thursday, they've now clocked up a staggering 800 miles so far on this trip. We had petrol at Labe Village stores, just called in to admire the views at Little Loch Broom, and now we're heading for Gerlock.
Just having a look here at one of the NC500's must-see attractions. It's the swinging suspension bridge over the Falls of Measack at the Gerlock National Nature Reserve.
So we've made it for a lunch stop in Ullapool. Next up is a stop off at Knockham Crag, where there's various displays and information boards explaining to us about the tectonic action and how two continents collided here on this very site some 300 billion years ago. And it looks like Martin has found himself a young stag.
Ardrett Castle dates back to the 1500s. Over the years it was fought over many times in a long-running feud between the MacLeods and the Mackenzies. Things are never that bad, Gary. Don't do it, my friend. We'll get through this week together, pal. Don't do it, Gary. One of the more famous stories about Ardrett Castle is that it was where the royalist, the Marquis of Montrose, was imprisoned after he'd been injured and lost the Battle of Carbisdale. He was strung to a horse and carried 230 miles to Edinburgh for execution, where his body was dismembered and parts of it were displayed in public across the whole of Scotland.
After Ardrett Castle, it was a slight detour to take in the Wailing Widow waterfalls. It's about 100 yards off the beaten track and over some rough terrain to get there, but certainly worth the effort. Final leg of the day now as we head off to Loch Lomond. Accommodation is a bit of a premium here, so we've had to split the group with half in the Coolag Hotel and half in the Ancala bunkhouse. It was soon time to head off to the nearby Melvich beach for our annual dip in the Minch.
Okay, we've popped down to Melvich Beach. There's nothing more exhilarating than a good old dip in the Minch. Ian Rock's been in there. A few words, Ian. What do you reckon?
Oh, absolutely gorgeous, but I'm f***ing freezing. I thought I was going to have a heart attack.
Steve, do you enjoy that?
Oh, that's cracking. Absolutely freezing though. And now time for a Red Bull.
Here on making his debut on the NC500 tour. What do you think of your swim, Lee?
Absolutely amazing in there. Bit chilly, but beautiful.
And how are you finding the trip so far?
Fantastic. Gonna get booked in again for next year, maybe. Definitely the year after. Absolutely brilliant.
Oh, thanks very much for that, Lee.
No worries.
Good morning from Loch Lomond. Another cracking day. Steaming yesterday, now time for one of these bad boys.
And this weather is certainly being super kind to us. It's the first time we've managed to catch Clactoll Beach in blazing sunshine. The next little section of our trip is along this beautiful little single track road, 25 miles of dips and bends on what some aptly call the Wee Mad Road. It's the B869, the Drumbeg Loop.
Yeah. Really? Yeah. Oh, you I kept on bursting away, and then as soon as I hit a car, I stopped right down, stopped the car to make sure. So I was actually trying to stop the traffic before I actually came to us. But something come off.
You went in the ditch.
You're doing, I know, you're doing. So you want to be a bit quicker then?
The weather keeps giving.
So you want to be a bit quicker?
Yeah, brilliant.
Quick word for the camera, Jelly. How's your trip been so far?
My trip's been great. I'm really enjoying it. The sun and the scenery is fucking made it even better. So yeah, glad I come. So week's going too quick, miles too quick.
So we're at the Drumbeg viewpoint, and there's Babs setting himself up for doing what Babs does best. So here's the group all coming across the iconic Cairngorms Bridge. It's 11 miles to our next stop at Scowry Bay, and then it's on to Inverness for lunch. our next stop, just 3 miles up the road, is a great opportunity to relax for a few minutes at the Cairngorms beach. We were hoping to have a go on the Golden Eagle zip line, which runs across the bay, but unfortunately it was closed because of the blustery winds. Never mind, maybe next year. We were more than happy just to sit in the sun and take in the views, and of course get some photos.
Carrying on with this afternoon's ride, and we've stopped at the elevated Ardleaky viewpoint, which overlooks Loch Lomond, and the only house in the UK that has 2 beaches in its front garden.
Just up the road is the old Travellers Rest Stop that sits on the edge of the flow country called Moyne House, complete with its rather unique graffiti. So we started the day with a hearty breakfast at Betty Hill Hotel, which set us up for the longest leg of the week, the 154 miles across to John of Groats and then all the way down the east coast to Downey Glamping by the Cromarty Firth.
After refuelling at Thurso, we turn off the main road to visit mainland Britain's most northerly point at Dunnet Head.
And by midday we'd made it to the Holy Grail. Some 650 miles from home, it's the famous most northwesterly point on the British mainland, at John of Groats. So those that wanted them got their photos by the famous signpost. And we managed to get another club sticker on the John of Groats sticker board for the 5th time in the last 4 years. And what's this? It looks like they've fished out an old bit of Roger Denny's Lambretta from the harbour and mounted it on the quayside.
After the photos at John of Groats, it's a quick dash down to Wick for lunch at Morag's Caff. Great little place to get your foot-long sub or your sausage, egg and chips. And in Morag's they have a great area at the back of the cafe dedicated to all your North Coast 500 souvenirs. Patches, stickers, signs, t-shirts, jewellery and cuddly toys.
How did you know about that? You didn't give it a dog. No?
After an awesome barbecue and an epic night at Downey Glamping, there were a few sore heads around this morning, but on with the journey, which today takes us through the Cairngorms mountains and 150 miles south to Skye. But first off, it's across the Kessock Bridge and into Inverness for 11s. We then parked up at Ness Walk, where we could get some photos across the river of Inverness Castle, which was presently cordoned off for works. We'd all now completed the official route of the North Coast 500, and the riders were now entitled to display their Endurance North Coast enamel cog badges. So we headed off to the village of Carbridge, famous for its packhorse bridge, and then into the Cairngorms mountains on the A939, which gave the illusion that it was a road heading up into the clouds as it climbed up towards the Loch Ski Centre. We crossed over the border and skirted through the edge of Aberdeenshire. Nice little shot here of Ian Rock following the GoPro. And we're about to go past Balmoral Castle when things took a turn for the worse for Andrew Owen, when after 1,000 miles on this journey the belt finally gave up on his little ET2. How annoying, it's only 50 miles from the end of the trip. The weather had been fantastic to us all week, with the sun and blue skies following us for 8 days and all the way round to Braemar. But then the heavens opened and it was a treacherous ride across Glenshee with stair rods drenching us for the duration of the 40 miles to Skye. We checked into the airport lodges for a cheap night's accommodation before heading into the village for an evening meal at the Skye Arms. It was quite ironic that the only one of us with dry trousers had to wear the kilt tonight as a forfeit. Didn't they, Andrew Owen? Day 9 and we crossed the Queen's Ferry, new Forth Road Bridge. And it was all mainly about getting home now. Almost 400 miles that we'd decided to spread over 2 days. This meant that we had time to pop into Edinburgh to see the castle and had a drink at the grass markets while we reflected on what had been a fabulous week. And with that, I'll leave the final word to Duncan Lindsay.
So far this week?
Oh, so proud. It's brilliant. Everybody's done really well. The weather's been fantastic. Unbelievable scenery, well organised. Loving it. Loving every minute.
Now time for one of these bad boys. okay, we made it down to Newark on the A1. Again, it's been an absolutely fantastic week. The weather has been absolutely awesome. I think everybody's enjoyed themselves. It's been a grueling, long haul, 1700 mile trip. But it's been a great week, but it's been a tough week. So let's have a Red Bull.
60 miles till I'm home. I'm having a Red Bull.